I've seen some crazy stuff happen over the last 20 years in video games, and what a time it's been to be alive during all of it. I've seen the first instance of deathmatch multiplayer in Doom and Wolfenstein. I've been treated to some awesome cutscenes in what now looks like an old school Lego game. I got to witness when Mario made the jump from 2D to 3D to get himself some of that sweet, sweet cake. And the spawn of the world's most popular video game, League of Legends. It's such a staple, it feels like it's been around forever. So believe it or not, League of Legends didn't just show up one day and capture the hearts of video game players everywhere. It wasn't just magically #1 on Twitch's streaming viewer count, and the term MOBA wasn't coined. You know what, actually none of this existed until about 14 years ago, and there is a much bigger story here than you might think. A story of triumph and heartbreak. So let's get into it. The most important year for our story is in 2002. Blizzard had just released one of the most important titles in years, the cleverly titled sequel follow-up to Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3. It had 3D graphics and dancing trees and orcs and humans and elves and undead zombies. These things were great, but not the most important part for our story. With this game, Blizzard also packed in their world editor. It essentially gave any person, mainly 14-year-old me, a chance to draw obscenities on a map and then distribute for all my friends to play. But put in the hands of other talented people, they made magic with it, and they were quite amazing. They made in-game RPGs, little mini Mario Party type games, and so much more. Inside the game was the advent and refining of tower defense games. In fact, the term tower defense was coined because that's what you defended with, these in-game towers with little archers shooting out of them. Okay, maybe this isn't the best example of how important this campaign editor was. There was one more thing it was 100% responsible for in creating, a game by the name of DotA. This game was the single biggest influence to the creation of League of Legends and I guess the appropriately titled now Dota 2. And Blizzard doesn't own the rights to either of those titles, and it begs the question, how can this be? A piece of software or a game type developed using in-game tools of a game created, operated, and overseen by Blizzard themselves? There is no clear-cut answer here. A lot of what I can offer up is the history of the incident and possible interpretations of what happened behind closed doors. The history of Dota is a bit long, and it actually includes a bunch of different modders, so let's get into it. The original inspiration for Dota was a 1998 mod for StarCraft, created by Aeon64 called Aeon of Strife. After the release of Warcraft 3 and its world editor in 2002, Dodo was created by another modder, Yule. What he did is he essentially ported and expanded Aeon of Strife mod into this new game engine, and he named it Defense of the Ancients. After a bunch of iterations of Dota, Mine and Ragnar decided to compile all the different versions of Dota into a single game called Dota All-Stars. Then, another modder by the name of Ginsu took Dota All-Stars and improved upon it by inserting his own mix of content to Dota. He gave the mod TLC and balanced it with new items and heroes and the like. Ginsu then had enough and passed the mod to IceFrog after accepting a job at the newly formed Riot Games in 2005. All of this takes place between the years of 2002 and 2006. So you might be asking yourself, okay, here's a little game called Dota that is essentially a game within a game. How could Blizzard even know that it would blow up in popularity like it did with League of Legends or Dota 2? Well, that is not exactly true. Let me show you something. It's 2017, and this is a screenshot that I literally just took. You can still find this game being played right now. But back in 2006, this screenshot literally looked like this one. There's no way Blizzard was unaware of its popularity. It even had its own song that peaked all over the European music charts. And after a bit of digging, I stumbled upon a podcast from 2014 featuring none other than Rob Pardo, the once chief creative officer at Blizzard, who was the lead designer on World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3, and StarCraft Brood War. So he's no slouch in the video game industry. He has an eye for talent and an eye for design. And in the interview, he states this.
I mean, honestly, it's just development bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we were aware of it. We knew it was getting really popular. I actually did have a kind of an official sit-down meeting with the other kind of execs of the studio and said, hey, we should really talk about this. And we walked down the path and talked about what it would take. And we also actually brought Ice Frog out and talked to him a bit too. And we just, made the decision that we just didn't feel like we could take it on and make it successful at the time.
So you have a game that has three things any game needs to succeed: a large install base with a large amount of users, a talented game developer, and a proven one at that point in Ice Frog, and a strong branding with a thriving tournament scene. This was all there. It was a turnkey operation. It was ready to go right then and there, and Blizzard looked the other way, and in my opinion, greatly devalued Ice Frog and to an extent Ginsu. This is likely footage of something that may or may not have happened. If you think it's far-fetched, get ready for the numbers I'm about to drop on you. Keep in mind the entire context of the first half of this video while I'm explaining. Actually, you only need to remember one thing. This game existed for 4 years under Blizzard's umbrella before anyone started to make any real moves on it. But after all is said and done, here's, some of what Blizzard has missed out on. This genre of video gaming didn't exist until the creation of Dota, and League of Legends was the first to capitalize on its popularity. It was reported by the research firm SuperData Research that Riot Games made over $1.6 billion in in-game revenue last year, and this is 7 times more than that of Dota 2 did in 2015. To compare this to the behemoth Blizzard that has been around and making video games for over 25 years and includes the franchises Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo, they brought in a net revenue of $2.4 billion. And for all intents and purposes, this seems to still be a growing genre in video games and not a flash in the pan like, something like Guitar Hero. In 2015, League of Legends represented nearly 23% of playtime of online games. And there's one more thing.
One more thing!
League of Legends and Dota 2, I guess along with Counter-Strike as well, are completely dominating the esports market. Not only are they dominating the esports market, they are dominating a continuously growing esports market, especially as Blizzard has seen their viewership and participation by comparison basically fall flat on its face with StarCraft 2 and Hearthstone and Overwatch and World of Warcraft. And this is mirrored in its view count on Twitch. In 2016, League of Legends garnered over 1 billion viewing hours on Twitch. By comparison, of all Blizzard franchises together accounted for 798 million spread out across all of the franchises. So I guess the last takeaway is that a diamond in the rough, it's still a diamond. You have value even if other people don't seem to see it. So with that being said, thank you for taking the time to view this video. If you think we are a diamond in the rough and you want to see us break through, please consider giving us a like and maybe a subscribe. And also, thank you for putting up with my sick voice. Hopefully the next video is going to sound much better. But until next time, happy gaming.